What's going on, guys? Blake Fontana here. If you're new to the channel, welcome in. If you've been here before, welcome back. In this video today, I have a special training to share with you, one that we don't typically offer for free or host inside of our community for free, but something that we did in previous weeks to over-deliver and help members inside of our free community understand how to effectively navigate the waters of messenger conversations. So this is something that we do consistently each and every week inside of our coaching program with messenger conversation audits and messenger feedback. But in this one today, I'm giving you a complete coaching session at no charge for you to dive into ahead that breaks down a bunch of different conversations from members directly inside of our free community, going through these conversations, helping you understand how to navigate them, how to handle the conversation itself, what questions to look out for, what questions to ask, and what signals to look out for in the conversation to know when is the time to ask for a call, when is the best time to put out your offer. All of that and much, much more inside this training up next that I think many of you will really enjoy and get a lot out of if you stick through the end and implement what we talk on in this training itself. So dive in, enjoy, and we'll see you on the end one.
So here it is. I said, hey, Kent, good to connect with you. Doing great. How are you doing? And then I asked, so what do you do? And he says, I'm in between jobs at the moment, trying to start something new and get something different. I should not have said this, but I did. And I just jumped the gun. I should have gone further, deeper into it. But I said, have you ever tried affiliate marketing? And then he just saw this and then didn't answer me. And then I saw he was online again. I wrote, it's considered number one online money marketing, blah, blah, blah. So that probably I should not have done. And he didn't even look at the next one. I guess I turned him off. So what should I have said? And can I even recover this?
This is a great first example to start with. If you could actually scroll up to the top of this one again.
Yeah. Right there.
So this, just for some context, this was a cold outreach example. It was someone that you just added as a friend and reached out to him.
Yes.
Hey there, Kent. Good to connect with you. How are you? Doing great. How are you? So got some response on this first outreach message. Me personally here in the first stage, just for a small note, I always like to try to make that outreach message as personalized as possible, just to show that person that we are actually taking the time to look at their profile before. So it doesn't feel like everybody else out there that's just doing random cold outreach. But I think the point is here, we got a response, and that's the most important thing to start. So he showed some good energy coming back, doing great. How are you? You said great. Thanks for asking. So in terms of time that lapsed between that and you saying, what do you do? How long of a window of time was that?
Okay, so it was pretty quick. So it was Friday, and then he actually answered me on Friday. Yeah, all this happened Friday. So it's Friday, 5:26. He said, I'm in between jobs, and then 6:12, I bombarded him with this affiliate marketing thing. And he actually didn't see this, but then he came back online later that night. And around 8 o'clock, like I saw he was online and he saw that. And around 8 o'clock, I was like, oh man, I screwed up. And then around 8 o'clock is when he was online reading. Have you ever thought of affiliate marketing? And I sent this.
Okay. I think that's the first and most important thing is that you're aware of that this could be improved. And I think what I see here at this stage, and when he said, if we scroll up just a little bit.
Yep.
So when he said, I'm in between jobs at the moment, trying to start something new and different. So he's opening up to us, at least sharing a little insight on like what he's doing right now or what he's wanting to do. To me, this is going to be the perfect stage, especially knowing that this person is cold and new to our world. We really want to show and take some time to let him know that we're actually interested in what he is trying to pursue, so we can get to know them better and then talk about potential solutions from there if we can help. So to me, like the best reply in this scenario would be something along the lines of, if he said, I'm in between jobs at the moment, trying to start something new and different, asking him about like currently what he has in mind. You could say from here, like, do you mind sharing with me what you currently do at the moment and what you're kind of thinking that you're looking to work towards or wanting to get involved with in the future? Then he'll share that. Maybe he says, I'm a construction worker right now and I want to get into drop shipping. I want to leave my 9-to-5 job.
Mm-hmm.
So from there, you can start to have conversation around that and why he feels drop shipping is the best route for him right now. And then from there, you can kind of work backwards and say, okay, like what does he need to get to leave that 9-to-5 job itself? And then how can you fit into possibly supporting him and helping him make that happen? What we want to avoid above anything else is going from him starting to open up to us and then us kind of going straight towards our thing, because it's going to make him close up and block off and not want to be open with us anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, I knew that the second I sent it to, I was like, shit, I shouldn't have sent that. It just got me like a little bit excited. I was like, oh, he's looking for something. But I don't even know if maybe he says he's trying to start something new and different. Maybe he already has something in mind that's new and different. I never even thought of that. I was just like, oh, new and different. Let me show him this. So yeah, I needed to dive deeper in that. And I know, is there any way that I could recover from this? I mean, I know he didn't see this message, so I could always like delete it. This last one. But is there any way that I could just recover and,
Yeah, I think from this point too, just to kind of recap, as you mentioned here, like he could have come back and said he doesn't really know what direction he thinks he's headed. And that's like another great thing for you too, because then you can always work back to potentially talking about affiliate marketing with you helping with that. Right. So at this stage, we led towards our thing a little bit too early. We know that, but now from this point, the message after, it's considered the #1 way to make money online. I can tell more if you're interested. If not, it's cool too. It's not for everyone. So the biggest thing we want to try to avoid in this instance is continuing to sell the thing. Like we don't need to explain ourselves as to why affiliate marketing is the thing, because we already know that that message we sent before may have been a little bit too straightforward for them.
Right.
So what I would try to do here is work to get back to some common ground. And what I would think about doing is either going to his profile, maybe looking at some content, what he's published, and work to talk on one thing that maybe you guys relate on, that you have a common interest with.
Right.
Or work to circle back to maybe ask him about like what he's currently doing for a job right now, and just trying to go back to getting to know him more rather than talking about your thing.
Okay. Yeah, I looked at his profile and I was trying to get an angle from his profile that I could talk about, but it really was like random stuff. And he had like some kind of video of him in the gym, working on the TRX and stuff like that. But it was just pretty much random stuff. It wasn't like, it wasn't too much stuff that I can like heart and, comment on too much. So I guess I have to look more and see.
Yeah. Let's say we can poke over to his profile really quick before moving to the next combo too. And I can take a look, see what it looks like.
Yeah.
For those watching as well, who has ever kind of felt the similar thing where they know that like in the conversation, they feel like they jumped the gun a little too soon? We're going to talk on this more in today's live towards the end on what to look for in terms of signals in these conversations. So you know exactly when it's time to start talking about your help and what you can do to help him, and avoiding doing that too soon to kind of stop the conversation.
So this is his profile. Desperate need of update transportation, thinking about a Subaru. Also Cash App me any donations directly. I don't know. It looks like he's got no money.
Yeah, so to me, that's one flag alone, I guess, in terms of looking when you're prospecting, adding friends.
Yeah.
Based on the donation post, like maybe he doesn't have the finances to invest into a program itself. I mean, we can't assume that on the surface, but that's a sign that we could look into.
Yeah, this is 3 hours ago, so I didn't see this before. It says 3 hours. Yeah. So he just.
But let's say like on the left up there, he posted 2 pictures of flowers.
Oh, this, okay.
That one, the top left. Let's see how recent that was and maybe what he was mentioning there.
This picture with the flowers, you're gonna click on that?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, this iPad is horribly slow.
Very much context there. But that's one thing I know, like just looking at the lens of you're a female, perhaps you're into flowers, perhaps this flower there is like your favorite flower. And you saw that he just got this for his significant other. You could talk, you could reach out to him around that, where it's basically pointing out like, hey, that's really sweet that you got that for so-and-so. It's actually my favorite flower too. So we just got connected, and then open up the conversation from there.
Yeah, it's a good idea. I didn't think of that. Okay. Yeah, so what I saw was like all this stuff is just recent. 7 hours. Oh my God, I should get this on my computer. This is horrible.
That's all right. We can move on from this one here, but I think the biggest thing to keep in mind on this is that before talking about our thing, before talking about affiliate marketing or your products or your services, the most important thing is that we have trust built in the conversation before. And I think in this instance, the conversation was too early on, and we want to focus on building that trust first before segueing to our thing.
Yeah, absolutely. You got it back, right?
Yep, we're good. Thank you. Thanks for confirming. Anna, you are welcome to hop in the room if you'd like now.
So I'm sorry, like one more time. So what should I say to him now? I should just say, you know, what were you thinking of? Like, what kind of work were you thinking of? Do you have something in mind, or?
I would work to circle back to that point. Either ask him what he was considering moving towards in terms of work, or like what he's currently doing now. Perhaps what he said in that conversation, he's showing that he's looking for an opportunity to branch out of what he's doing with his job and make money online. I know that for me early on in my journey, that was kind of my same niche, where it's literally focusing on people a step below me that were starting to look into affiliate marketing or looking into that opportunity to go full-time online, but didn't really know how, like, the best first steps to get started.
Yeah.
Takes longer to show them that that's like the best path for them, but that all comes back to the conversation and really focusing on building trust. Because if he does trust that you're guiding him in the right direction, he will be open to that consideration, and he may just take that step with you itself.
Yeah, and some people who are like that as well, I'll send them to, they're a little bit maybe on the fence or something, I'll send them to the group so they could get more exposure and see what other people are thinking, and maybe draw them in that direction of thinking as well.
Yep.
So,
We'll continue on from here just to make sure that we're getting through conversations as promised for the live. So Anna, if you want to pull up conversations your way, otherwise I have some saved.
I sent you, yeah, I think you have those that I sent you. Probably that's the best solution, because it will not take a lot of time for you to do it. So you have it ready.
Perfect. Yep, I got these pulled up here. I have basically 1A, 1B, and then 2A through 2D. So I got the two first conversations pulled up here.
Yep. But if you can make it a bit bigger, because it's not really okay. Right. Awesome.
Those watching on the live itself in Facebook, if you have any issues seeing, let me know. I can zoom in a little bit more, but let me know in the comments below on that. So to kind of pick up on this conversation, let's start from the top here. I saw you comment on my post about the templates. Are you still interested? So for some context, I'm assuming this is someone that came in off of a piece of content that you put out, giving away some sort of
yeah, they are two-step post, but I know her from before. I mean, we spoke numerous times. I know her from a couple of different programs, so you know, I'm familiar with her.
Okay. So she's been following you for some time. She came in off of your content.
Yep.
Showing interest for this thing. You reached out to confirm with her that she's still interested in that thing. She said, yes, I'm still interested in the templates. Is that what you're using? Hey, Sarah, no. What are you currently up to online? I saw a lot of posts about clean water from you recently. I know you've been doing a lot of different things in the past. So I think this was a great question here to continue on from this point. Just to clarify this section here, when she asked, is this what you're using? And you said, hey, Sarah, no. Can you explain to me what she and what you meant by this?
I was offering the templates, like viral post templates, as a freebie. And then on the back of that, you know, I started talking to people who actually commented that they're interested. And then she was like, okay, these templates of yours, is that this type share thing? So she thought it was something that it was not. So I just told her that it's something else.
Perfect. That makes sense. That makes 100% sense. From the way I read it, which I guess this could be one thing to consider going forward. It's very small, but when she asked this, you could say, hey, no, it's not type share, but these are templates that I'm using. Whereas she could have taken it as like, no, these aren't even templates that I'm using itself. But not a huge deal at this point. I think ultimately from her confirming here and showing that she is interested in this is a great segue to kind of pull back from just giving away the free thing right away and really working to get them to open up so you can better understand and get to know them further. So she went and shared that she's promoting Kangen water for healthy hydration. The devices are designed and manufactured by Enagic, Japanese company, produce alkaline ionized water through electrolysis of tap water after it undergoes filtration. Do not know much about that process, but it's interesting to hear. Magic, sure, heard about them. So great job at this point. You took what she said, you related back to her, showing her that you're actually listening to what she's sharing in regards to this product that she's promoting. You talked a little bit about other commonalities within this, how you've heard some other people promoting this before as well. And now you yourself, you know, if you can get some insight on price, this is helpful to you. So you asked her, what is the price of this product itself? We'll jump to part 2. So after asking the price, she said, yes, the water devices are high ticket products that are never discounted. Only the filters are discounted once or twice a year. Here's the link for the Europe website. The office in Rome supports many European countries as well as Greece and Cyprus. Awesome, definitely high ticket products. Saw a couple of them priced north of 3K in euros. What monthly revenue target are you working towards right now? So again, this is a great job on Anna's part by continuing to lead the conversation, taking what they're saying, relating back, showing that we're listening, and still continuing on to get better insights so she can properly handle the conversation from there. What we're seeing on the other end of the conversation too is this person's being open to sharing. They're sharing information on the product willingly, and now they're sharing information on the price as well as the income goal that she's working to get towards. Again, relating back here, love the goal, totally realistic. If you don't mind me asking, what's your revenue at now? Close to 1,000 a month. It's tricky. That's the trickiest bracket, 0 to consistent 8 months. People usually feel that's what's holding them back from really taking off. Okay, so I do have some insight at this point. I don't believe we have conversation beyond here. So
there is a conversation beyond. It's not the last one. There should be 1C.
Let's see here. Nope, I don't have. I have 1A, 1B, 3A. And then the rest are 2A. So if you have that, if you're able to pull up that piece, I can pull that in.
I'm just, it's a bit slower because I have a lot of things open on my computer at the moment, but yeah,
What I'm looking for, like this will be helpful to see what the next message was sent beyond this, but to emphasize and recap here is we're waiting for Anna to pull this up. To know, as we're starting to progress this conversation, we always want to be thinking, okay, like if I'm in this person's shoes, like what's the energy that they possess right now? And are they like, am I asking questions that I myself would be open to if I was in their position itself? She's being open here and answering these questions, but I can tell from the replies up to this point, like they've gotten a little bit shorter and shorter. And obviously like a question like this, where we're asking what's your current revenue now, it's going to be a little bit more of an intrusive question. A question that some may not feel comfortable asking, and it requires trust to be built to ask that question and get an honest answer. She did give us an honest answer here, but it was kind of just a short message. So I'm going to talk about how I would recommend to reply to this here shortly, but let's dive into what was said beyond this.
Yeah, there is more. So, okay, I can read it from here. Yeah, that's a trick. Is bracket 0 to inconsistent 2K a month. People usually feel that something's holding them back from really taking off, but they rarely have a clue what it is because you don't know what you don't know. So what do you feel like is your biggest struggle in going from inconsistent 1K to stable 3K a month? This is what I asked the last. And then she said, my commitment to my full-time job. My home business is starting to pick up, so hopefully in a few months' time, I will have reached my goal. And at this point, I just thought that I shouldn't try to push this further because she doesn't seem to need any help or she doesn't want help. So I just said, yeah, I totally get that. Things started moving much quicker for me as well. Once I was able to leave my 9 to 5, just to put in the conversation that I actually left my job. Yep. Here's my viral post templates. Then I sent it. I said, enjoy your weekend. So she said, thank you, much appreciated. And that was it. So basically my question was it possible from your angle to do something and go into the actual sales conversation? Because I don't think so. I think this was an open and shut case of nothing.
Yeah, I think this may be an opportunity in the near future, perhaps not right now. And it may be able to turn into one. I think just going back to this point first, when she mentioned her current income now is as 1K a month, she wants to get to 3. So we have a gap to 2K to getting there. Coming from the reply here, I think it's really important whenever we're asking that more intrusive question of what's your revenue now, and she comes back and willingly shares that with us. We want to take some time to relate or show like, hey, appreciate you sharing that with me. And then go into the question from there. Whereas if we go from them sharing goal, struggle, and then just saying like, yeah, that's the trickiest part, 0 to inconsistent 2K months, it almost makes them feel like we were kind of trapping them into this scenario where like we were hoping they would say this. So then we could just tell them like, yeah, it's tough to be in that spot. People usually get stuck here. I think we want to flip it and show more appreciation for her sharing it and then continue to get to open up from there. Like as you did after this message of asking kind of like, hey, with where you're at right now, going from 1K to 3K, what do you feel like the biggest block for you in getting there is?
Yeah. So I did ask that in the next question, and then she said her full-time job and the home business is picking up. So I thought, okay, let's wrap it up because I don't want to push it. I don't want to burn the bridge for the future, and I don't want to come off salesy. So I think I have done a good job with this, but I wasn't sure.
Yeah, I think so too. And I think if I'm looking into what she said back after that question, she said her full-time job. So what may within her full-time job, how may that be holding her back? What is causing that to hold her back to make this growth happen? For you to say.
So I could have gone further into this. Yeah, but okay.
To me, I'm thinking if it's full-time job that's holding her back from making that growth happen, it likely means a time constraint. So if you were in a similar spot as her, where you were in a full-time job pursuing your affiliate marketing business and you had to make those initial sales happen to be able to break away from that full-time, and you were managing your business before on a small amount of hours each week, like she is now, once she says, hey, like my biggest thing holding me back is my full-time job right now, you could just honestly come back to her and say, okay, that's really good to know. Do you mind if I offer you some insight based on my experience? And then she says, yes. What you could say coming back from there is like basically showing them like, hey, I was in your shoes not long ago. I was in a position where I was trying to grow my affiliate marketing business well in a 9-to-5 job, and I didn't have much time. And what I found was most helpful to me was just having a clear plan in place, knowing what I needed to focus on with the small window of time that I have. Is that something
Right.
that you have, or is that something
Right.
you'd like some help with getting in place?
Okay, awesome. Yeah.
And something like that can easily
Okay.
turn it into where if she
Helpful.
says yes, I'd love to get that in place. Now we know we're in a good spot because she's shared all this information with us. She's let us know that she's interested in your help. And now we see the two beliefs we want to see. She's trusting us and she's open to our help, which allows us to then step into potentially offering a call from that point or talking about more in detail what that looks like.
Okay, clear. Thanks.
So really good job with the conversation as a whole. I think just in the ending, that's one thing to consider in that instance where it could have flipped around a little bit. Tank, welcome in, man. Welcome to the live. Those hopping on and joining, we got a few new hopping on. Hashtag live below and let me know who is joining in here. We'll move on to the next one from here. Hey, Earl, I see from my Facebook group questionnaire that you mentioned struggling with getting sales and you wanted me to reach out and offer some assistance. In order to be able to do so properly, I need to ask a couple questions relating to your biz. Are you on board with that? Yes. Awesome. Let's get started then. So what are you currently offering to your clients and how is it priced? So before we get into this one, let's talk about with this Earl conversation. It looks like he was a new member that joined your group.
Yeah.
He answered your membership questions. Prior to this outreach at the top, did you guys have any touch points before? Have you ever talked to him before? Was
We
this first?
actually, we had, and then he went out of the group, or I took him out of the group. I don't remember. Anyways, he now it's the second time he entered the group, and he answered the questions. Actually, he's a customer of mine for Peng Jun's video challenge previously. So I already sold him on some low ticket last year. So now he's coming back. I didn't want to speak about Peng Jun now. So I was just referring to the latest thing that he mentioned, that he has an issue with the sales, because I wasn't sure if he knows I changed the name of the group. I changed everything. I wasn't sure if he remembers that it was me he purchased it from, so.
Yep, 100%. So with that known, I think everything in this first section is great because he gave you the answers to the questions. You're using those as a way to reach out and give him what he wants ultimately. I think the one thing I would consider in the opener on this is adding in some relation at the top to where it's like, hey, Earl, welcome to my community, or I saw you join my group. Welcome. When answering the membership questions, I noticed you mentioned this. Just that line at the top where it's just giving them a warm welcome to the group, or just saying, hey, I just saw you join my group recently. It can add some positive energy to this to start the conversation before going into questions.
Right. Okay. Yes.
So we go to from here. He said yes. He gave permission to continue on with questions. Awesome. Let's get started. So what are you currently offering to your clients and how is it priced? He is currently offering a low cost affiliate item from Warrior Plus for $12 to $47. Okay, great. So what monthly revenue target are you working towards now? So you went on to another question here. 2K to 5K. Love the goal. If you don't mind me asking what your revenue is.
I mean, it's such a stretch. He's selling a $15 thing and he wants to make 5K, but okay. I mean, let's see what he has in mind with the whole thing.
This is a great observation by you in the conversation because you're already seeing a gap. He's selling this low ticket thing. He has this goal. So that one piece is something that I would keep in mind right away in the conversation as an opportunity for you to educate him on that as we get to this point. So you asked him goal. He said, if you don't mind, what's your current revenue now? He's at 50 to 300. So he's quite a ways away from his goal. Thanks for sharing that with me. It helps a lot. Great job relating back. How are you promoting your goods right now? Organically on social media or using paid ads? A little organic, a little paid, solo ads. So this is where I would get some insight on what he mentioned on how much he's putting into solo ads. Because if he's only making 50 to 300 a month, he wants to get to 3,000, 2K to 5K. If he's putting 100 to 500 a month into solo ads, he's actually in the red right now and he's not making money. So it could be.
Yeah, obviously, because he couldn't be putting less than 100. I mean, I don't even think 100 is realistic. So most probably minimum is 150 in solo ads. But I think also that he's fantasizing a little bit, that he's making up the answers because things don't really add up and he's kind of not answering very, he's not providing specific answers. He's like, both left and right and this and that. So
what to you is the least specific that you're wanting a more specific response on, like like what he's using to market between organic and paid?
A little organic, a little paid. And this is why I went back to his Facebook profile because he has nothing on it. It's like he's not using the Facebook profile. So I was thinking, how is he actually doing it organically? And I just.
So that would be something that I would actually ask him on first before going in. Like what we don't want to do is just make him feel like we're taking him through a script of going from question to question. And if we could pause before going into that next question of you wanting to identify what his struggle is, you could first just ask him like, hey, I know you mentioned a little paid and a little organic. I was just checking out your profile. I didn't see a ton of content there. Do you mind sharing with me a little bit more about how you're using paid and organic within your strategy now?
I was afraid to lose him because if I call him out on something like that, I thought he might just click away,
Okay. And that may be the case, but I think if that's the case, then obviously he's probably not open to hearing what you have to say. Maybe he comes back in the future. To me, it's more so lines like this. If we just say like looking at your profile, not a lot going on, that can make him feel like either we're saying he's wrong or he's not doing something good. And that can make him feel worse and less open. So I think it'd be more beneficial to get him to share more on like how he's using the tool. So then you can show him how he can better use that tool for his business.
Okay. So basically to risk for the person to go away and discontinue the communication is better, but to go in depth than to just keep pushing ahead. Yeah.
Say that one more time.
So it's preferential that we go in depth with people instead of just trying to rush through the whole scenario.
That's a very good question. So we want to have awareness around what replies are we getting? Do we feel like the replies that we're getting are trustworthy replies? Like, is he showing that he's trusting us in the conversation, or is he just kind of giving us one-line replies and just quickly answering our questions? If it's shorter, punchier replies, that usually is a signal of trust is a little bit lower. Like he's sharing information, but he's a little bit unsure. So this is where I would show him that I'm more interested in what he's sharing in those short replies, so he can open up more and so he can see that, hey, Anna actually is curious about how I'm using this because she wants to help. So it doesn't
Okay.
always mean that you have to go deep in every conversation. I think the biggest thing is awareness around the signals that you're seeing in the conversation. If trust feels low and responses are shorter, we want to take some time to show more genuine interest in them and what they're doing so we can help them from there.
Okay.
So we went on to struggle from this point in terms. So what do you feel like is your biggest struggle going from where you are to your current revenue target? In terms of solo ads not working, you'd like to learn more about to do better organic, or anything else that comes to mind that needs fixing? So did he mention that solo ads aren't working yet?
No.
And
I
this is what-
just thought I should offer him some replies, because I was just feeling that he doesn't really know what he's doing. So if I ask him a question without provided answers below, like ABC, that I will get nothing in return. Maybe I was just,
I think we're assuming a little bit there, but I think ultimately,
Yeah.
like to me, this comes back to like a core sales message of the fact that if you're saying it to him, if you're saying solo ads aren't working for you before he's shared that to us, it comes down to the line of like, if I say it, they doubt it, but if they say it, they own it. So if we can get him to come to us in the conversation and say, hey, look, I am running solo ads, I'm spending about 100 a month, and it's not bringing me leads or sales. Now he's owning up to the fact that that's the case. He's now aware of it through the conversation that you've had, and now he's much more open to alternatives to resolving that.
Right. Okay. So I shouldn't offer the multiple choice as the answers. Okay, sure. Without assuming.
What we don't want to do is assume, because if we assume that solo ads are not working for sure, without him saying that, he may close down more and then just continue to be less open with us. But I think if we went here and said, with you mentioning that you're running a little bit of paid ads and you're doing some organic with the paid ads and you're running solo ads, do you mind sharing how much you're currently spending a month on solo ads? Maybe he says 100 a month. Then from there, you could say, okay, with the 100 a month you're putting into that, like what's the return you've been seeing in terms of leads that you've gotten from that and sales itself? And then he may say 0. I haven't gotten any quality leads and I haven't made any sales yet. Then you could say, okay, good to know. Then from there, moving more towards organic, because now he's at least admitted to the fact that it's not working, which can lead to solutions from there.
Right. Okay. So more patience and more time. Okay. Yeah.
Exactly. We don't want to make him feel like we're just trying to lead him to our thing too soon before we actually can show him like that this is the right path for him based on where he's at. We'll continue on from here. So he is showing us that he's more interested in converting more sales and making a change. Yes, I'd like to get more people interested to convert into sales. Gotcha, but do you feel like you don't get enough eyeballs in your offers, or you're not able to convert the ones you got? To be able to determine where that bottleneck is in your sales process more accurately. So this was a good line, and this could even be used in the top. You could say, gotcha, to be able to help get to the bottom of this more accurately, or to help identify this bottleneck more accurately, do you feel like it's this, or do you feel like it's this? And this is showing him that we are being that trusted advisor and leader and expert in the conversation, because we're pointing out that, hey, I need to know this in order to be able to help further. And then he can share from there. But he came back a combination of both. So not really giving us a ton here to work with. Okay, would you like to learn to use your Facebook profile more effectively, presenting your offers and getting quality leads organically? Awesome. What level of investment would you feel comfortable in order to get your marketing business off the ground? The least expensive that is available. So to me, I think this guy is open to solutions. Perhaps he doesn't have the full budget to invest that you're looking for the high ticket product. And I think trust is a little bit low here. So in this instance, I think what you're kind of stepping down to from this point is ideal. Like you're not wasting your time by continuing the conversation. You asked him what he's able to invest. He made it clear that the least expensive option available, and stepping down to a low ticket was wise here in this instance, in my opinion.
Yeah. Thanks.
Did he, when you did step down to this, is this something that actually, I think we have 2D here. Okay. Yes, please.
Yeah, we have one more.
Great choice. Here you go. Even greater sign to see that he came back afterwards as well. So you said, let me know if you have any further questions after sharing the link. And I thoroughly enjoyed the video. We'll be enrolling today under your link. However, I'm running into a few errands right now, and it will be a few hours before I arrive home. Thank you again. I look forward to learning more. This is awesome ending here. Did he end up jumping in?
No. Okay, this was yesterday. So he
So
might
you might need a few
still-
more days.
he might still jump in because he did jump into the other low ticketing last year, just like this, on his own accord, and he just let me know afterwards. So, but I did want to make some kind of follow-up. So today I sent him a message that he hasn't seen yet, and I just asked him hey Earl, let me know if there is anything else that I can help you with, or if it's is there anything else that's unclear before you actually jumping into the SAI. This was the message that I sent today. I left like 24 hours to pass. He hasn't seen it yet, so
But I think ultimately, like, he may need just a little bit more time. It's still Friday itself. It's still that day. This is a good reply to see. It's not just like say, oh, I checked out the video, it looks good. Like, this is a trusting reply to me. He came back to you and went out of his way to come back to you and let you know that he watched the video and that he's serious about joining. What I think could help going forward, perhaps like seal up this deal and make it so like he actually does jump in sooner, is you could let him know, like, maybe you have some next steps in mind for him post joining. So like, hey, let me know when you do jump into the program. And from there, I'll let you know some best next steps when diving into things for direction going forward.
Right. Okay. So right now, because I did send him the follow-up message, like I told you, like, let me know if there is anything else that you need before jumping in. Now I would leave it. I don't want to swamp him with, to seem too eager for him to jump in. I would just leave it until he actually comes back with anything. And then when I get something back from him, I can build up on that, I guess. Because if I now send him another message, I don't think it's a good approach.
Exactly. I would give him a little bit of time here. That way you don't sound like needy for the sale itself. We don't want to come off that way because it could repel him more. I would give him a little space and maybe come back early next week if he still hasn't jumped in.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Great.
Jumping back to this really quickly too. Yeah, so this is a great example. One that I think trust was a little bit lower, but I think just through you relating back, continuing to ask questions, he started to open up more at the end. But I think the biggest thing here to remember for those watching and even thinking about this for their own conversations is, if I say it, they're going to doubt it, but if they can say it, they'll own it. So if we can get them to share with us why things aren't working or why they feel things aren't working, it's going to be a lot easier for them to own up to the fact that they do need alternatives to resolve the problem. To kind of continue on this, I'm going to go over one more conversation here of one that I had pulled up before. That's an example around this lines of what we're talking about of lower trust. Because the point is, when we're in messenger conversations, if we can build genuine trust and authentic trust earlier on in the conversation, we can always have much shorter conversations because of it. But if we don't take the time to do that from the start, we're going to have, if they're still being responsive to us, it can easily be a much lengthier conversation as we just continue to ask them questions. But if we can build that genuine trust to start, we're already starting to cross the beliefs that we're looking for to be able to offer next steps in a call or solutions. So we want to make sure that they're being trusting to us, they're open to our help, and they have a problem that needs to be solved. The sooner that we can identify that, the shorter the conversations can be, and we don't have to spend a ton of time going back and forth in Messenger itself. So like in this instance here of this conversation, so this kind of jumps in from the point of, thanks for sharing that with me. What do you feel like is your biggest roadblock for keeping you achieving that goal? Well, I'm just so absorbed with a lot of family things going on, but doing it slowly. I understand. So time is your biggest obstacle. Yes. Sounds like you got a funnel design part figured out. It's just having time to find customers and maybe knowing how to attract targeted leads. Just correct. So I can see here in this example to start, like, this person did a great job of keeping the conversation going by helping fill in the gaps of their short replies. But the point that we can't look past is the fact that these replies that she is giving us are short, are punchy, and they are lower trust. So although, like, in this instance, she's absorbed by things that are going on in her life, he assumed here time is your biggest obstacle, which is a clear assumption. But the point is she didn't admit that herself. So he's feeling forced to like pull in these things to try to keep them going. And then same with this message here. She was short. Yes. Sounds like you got the funnel design part figured out. It's just having the time to find customers and knowing how to attract targeted leads. Is this correct? Yes, we will see. So in this instance, this is a good job by him by continuing to like paint the picture of like what may be going off. This is helping her see that like we have an understanding of what's going on. But I think the point is that what we can't look past is like we can continue to assume and just say, oh, so if this is the case, it must be this. But if they're just being really short in their replies to us, the chance of them actually being open by the end of the conversation to a call or to our offer is slim to none. And we end up wasting our time with it. But if we can first build that genuine trust and rapport, get them to be more open in the conversation, we can get to our point a lot quicker. So he paused here and said, good to know. I have some thoughts. Be open to feedback. She just said, sure, coming back. Based on what you said about having time and finding leads, I have a few thoughts about how you could possibly maximize your available time and focus on finding more targeted leads, but I want to dive a little bit deeper to make sure. It would take a bunch of messages to type things out. It may be easier if we hop on a call. Would you be open to that? If not, I understand. We can continue on Messenger. Just might take longer. I'm fine either way. So some good things and some bad things that happened here. If we go look back at this point, the good thing is in this example, this person could have went straight into that feedback. She could have said, yes, we'll see. And he could have said, oh, based on what I see, this is happening, and this is what you should do. It's a good thing that he didn't do that because she's already showing us that she's really not fully open yet. So he paused here, and before sharing his insight and next steps on what he think would be best, he first made sure that he asked her, hey, are you open to some feedback first? He got that permission, which is an important first step. So she said, sure here, which when we see just the one line, sure, like there's not much energy in this conversation. It's not like she's saying, sure, exclamation mark. I'd love to hear more about what you have in mind. It's just kind of a general, sure. This was a great message here because he's pulling back in what she mentioned before of what she was struggling with, what she wanted more of, and then starting to kind of create curiosity around how he can help with that by wrapping it up by saying it would take a bunch of messages to type out here. Would you be open to chatting further? But then this line came in afterwards where it said, if not, I understand. We can continue on Messenger, just might take longer. So now it's almost like we want to hop on a call because it's going to be easier for us to really get to know them and actually see if we can be of help on that call itself. But then we're coming back and saying, we really don't have to hop on a call. It's okay. This is showing them that we're kind of like letting them control the conversation, and also the fact that like it doesn't really matter to us either way. So I think if call is the direction you want to go in the conversation, stick to that. Don't contradict yourself and say, if you want, we can just stay here. Okay, thanks a lot. But I don't have any budget for consultations or something like that. So this is a good thing to see. Before he went out of his way and had the call with them, she came in and it was just clear in the fact that, hey, I'd love to hop on a call or I'd be open to that, but I don't have the budget right now for consultations like this. So in my opinion, this is an opportunity for you to say like, hey, this is maybe a blessing in disguise, or now is not the time to hop on a call with this person and spend the time on the call itself, because she's making it clear that she's not fully open. She doesn't have the funds to invest, and we don't want to just continue to give away our time for free. If we just say no charge, just some ideas, for those in the beginning stages of doing calls, this is an okay thing to do because it's practice on the call itself. But as you're continuing to take more and more calls, we want to be more in control of our time and not just giving it away to anyone. So I think in this instance here, given the signals that she's shown us before, and the fact that she's stated that she doesn't have a budget and she isn't open to that, I would have stepped down here to some free value to her to build some deeper trust and then come back from that point. So I would just let her know that at this stage right now, maybe it's best that we revisit a call in the future. And in the meantime, here's a video that I think will be helpful. That's enough to help build deeper trust with her, give her some value, help her get going, and then the opportunity can come back to life later on if it fits. Julio, welcome in, man. Welcome to the live. As I've rambled on through these conversations, we've broken out some really good stuff here. Any questions anybody has that's been watching thus far? Let me know in the comments. Or Anna and Nona on the Zoom, any questions you guys have?
Just going back to even what Anna said about, I have been like trying to hone in on my perfect avatar, and I mean, I agree with what she said about that person. However, I'm getting a lot of different feedback from different people about you should go after these people. No, you should go after these people. And so I'm going after like everybody, I'm going after like um newbie affiliates from groups that I'm in, and then I'm going after trying to build up my friends list with just a lot of real people, not phony people, with, just like regular people who, may or may not have considered working online. So I'm getting just a lot of feedback from different people about this is what I should do, this is what I should go after. So I am just a little bit all over the place with who my perfect person is. And, maybe that's why it's just, I'm saying the wrong stuff, or, cause you don't talk to a newbie the same way you talk to as an affiliate who knows what they're doing. So, any suggestions that, like, me, like who should I really target so that I could just like say the same thing over and over, and I don't have to like, not like the same exact thing, but the same kind of basic conversation, so that I don't have to say, okay, well, this person is like totally brand new and this is what I have to say. And then this person is an affiliate already, so I have to use this kind of tone. I mean, I want to kind of get a little bit of consistency so I could just start getting better and better and better. And
This is
then
definitely something we can talk a lot deeper on post this live itself, just to make sure we're staying on track with the live. But to offer some insight on this for you and for those watching as well, like the biggest thing that knowing like with where you're at as a whole, like in the beginning stages, it's very hard for us to know specifically who we're serving, problems we're solving, and how we help right away, because we're still getting comfortable doing the actions itself. And when we're in the stage of still learning how to do parts of the process and how to do it ourselves, it's hard for us to kind of take that into effect of like, how does this correlate to the people that we're speaking to? So a lot of it is stage that we're in, and knowing that we have to continue to have more conversations and connect with more people to see specifically like, hey, these are people that I know I can help, and these are people that I want to find more of. But when we don't have that knowledge in the beginning, it's difficult for us to hone in straight away. So like for you, for example, you're starting to realize that one area or one problem that you can help people solve is around the topic of live video. You're very comfortable going live and going behind camera. You're comfortable providing value behind the camera. And that's a valuable piece within marketing and within your business as a whole. So you already are starting to identify the fact that you can serve and benefit people that are afraid to be on camera, that don't know how to market their business with video. And that's already starting to gain more clarity on how you can fit into that puzzle. So you're starting to see problems that you can help people solve based on the skills that you currently have right now. And now it's starting to take that and say, okay, if these are the problems that I'm solving, who are the people that fit in these buckets? So let's say if that problem that you really want to hone in on going forward is the topic of live video and helping people confidently go live and using live video to grow their business, then it's probably going to be more focused on people that are starting to promote their business or are actively promoting their business now and not using live. So it could be people that are less away from that very beginning stage where they're trying to pick what to promote and how to get started, and more people that have already picked that product, but they're maybe hiding behind the scenes of their content and not really publishing much.
Okay. So then, how would I transition them to like the higher ticket items?
It would depend the angle to take it itself. So like, for example, if you're selling let's say it's a high ticket affiliate product, there's two like core attractive pieces to that. It could either be for the high ticket affiliate that already has a product that they are currently selling, but they don't have the skills or know how to sell it. So you're selling them that skill set and helping them get that skill set in place so they can make more sales. Or it's selling it on the flip side to the person that doesn't have the skills, but also doesn't have the product to promote. So now it's kind of tying in both benefits. The fact that, hey, you're going to get the skills to this program, but you're also going to get the high ticket product that you need to more easily achieve your income goal.
Okay. So when looking for friends, I should look for people who are not using videos, or afraid of using videos to promote their business, and maybe move them along the chain from there up to.
I think it's really important too to focus on people that you know on the surface that you can relate to as well within that bucket. So like if it's a a guy that's a hunter and you're not into like hunting at all, it's going to be harder for you to jive with him in a conversation and build real trust because you're a female, maybe you're not into hunting. So it's like starting from when you're adding friends, asking yourself, looking at this person, do I feel like it's someone that I could pick a conversation up with if I walked across them on the street today? And aside from that, based on what I see on their profile, do I feel like on the surface they fit the bucket of someone that I could help?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's my biggest problem there, is trying to find the right person, really, and find the right person that isn't inundated with other people like me.
We got to focus on reps more than anything right now. And I think too, this is why I put a big emphasis on like not overthinking a ton on the people that we're adding, because what we end up doing is just getting stuck at that point where we're just so focused on like finding the perfect people to add friends from that we end up not adding that many friends and not taking that much action. But if we can know that we're going to do our best to add what we feel is the best fit of friends for our audience, and know that we're going to start getting them into our world, into our ecosystem to see our content, the content that you're putting out where you're talking about the problems that that customer demographic is facing and how they're struggling to publish content and do it confidently, like that's going to help pull them in and get them to come to you and say, hey, look, I am dealing with this. This relates to me. So it goes beyond just the first step of the friend ad. It's also getting them into your ecosystem where you have filters within your content that's helping them show them how you help people and problems that you solve.
Okay.
Tank just asked a question here. What recommendations would you pass to more newer marketers with respect to having a small database of free training lead magnets available to hand out to prospects? Like how much should you have at the ready to be able to pass a link to them to watch a free training? It's a good question, Tank. So Tank's kind of saying, like in this instance where we're talking with that previous conversation we went over, how it could have been a good idea for that person to step down and give value with a free training. Tank's mentioning, what if you're in the beginning stages and you don't have a ton of free trainings built up or a ton of assets built up? Two things that I would consider at this point. Number one, if you're an affiliate and you're working with somebody, let's say you're selling somebody else's product as an affiliate for them, you could use resources that they've built, YouTube videos that they've built or trainings that they've built to give value. Similar to what Anna did in her conversation, she gave away a video from her affiliate creator, the program that she's promoting, and that was value to that person without her making the video. So one, use assets that you have at your disposal that maybe you haven't made, but correlate to what you do offer. Number two, I think look at it as an opportunity. Like if you're in that conversation, you want to step down to a free training on content creation, but you don't have that made, this could be a great time for you to go out and make that training and do it on the fly and make a Loom video personally for that person, breaking down some tips on content creation. It's a good practice for you. And it also helps you start building up assets as well. Then as you continue to grow and continue to make more content, make more videos and build more assets, you have more at your disposal on the fly for when certain instances pop up in the conversation where you can refer back to those previous things that you made. But when you're in that beginning stage, it's a good time to think about how you can use that to create more assets going forward. What I always recommend is look at the trends and problems that you're seeing in messenger conversations. Through the conversations you'll likely notice a series of buckets or trends that people are struggling with. Maybe it's lead generation, and maybe you help with that. If you're noticing that many conversations are coming to the point where people are mentioning that they're struggling to generate leads, this could be a cue for you. Hey, next week with my content, I'm going to emphasize this, and I'm going to reach back out to all the people that I was talking with that were expressing this problem and start pushing them to this new video that I'm coming out with next week to provide value on it. So this is actually a previous conversation for me that I had on record from a while before. This is an example of somebody that came inbound off of content. And this is just to show you guys what's possible as you start to get this in place to where how much shorter the conversations can be, as well as recapping kind of what things to look for as well from what we mentioned on today's live. So I put in some notes here on this person where I mentioned they followed me for some time. They were warm inbound off content, and they had belief in what I had to offer and my ability to help them with that. So this person was in my world for some time. They had trust. The trust was built. We didn't have to worry about building trust and taking time to do that in the conversation because that was already done in the past before, through content that I put out and through some short conversations before. But through the content I put out that week in particular, as we zoom in here, you can see this person came to me and said, can you tell me a little bit more about this case study group that you have going on right now? It might be something I'm looking for at the moment. So this is like what I was mentioning to Nona, where as you start to get understanding more and more of that audience, problems that you can help with, and start to wrap that into your content, it's people that are seeing that content that fit that bucket, they associate with it, and they can start coming to you and saying, hey, look, like this sounds like something that would really benefit me based on where I'm at. So this shows me that the content that I put out was on point at the time because it was speaking to him where he was at and what he was looking to get to. So he came to me directly off of that, which did a lot of the pre-selling for me. So as you continue to grow and get better and better with content, you can put more weight on the content itself and take less weight off having longer conversations because it starts to do some of that sales process for you. So this person came in directly, already showing me that, hey, I trust you and I'm interested in what you have to offer. So it was a really short conversation from here and getting to a call. I said, hey man, all has been great my way. Good to hear from you. Happy to go over the details with that for you. Can you refresh me with things and briefly describe where you're currently struggling at with your biz? And then he just came to me from there and said, maybe a quick call would do better for both. I'm glad to hear that. I said, yeah, that'd probably be easier. I have 3 calls coming up soon and a coaching call tonight. With our time difference, might be easier to set up one for tomorrow if that's cool. Yeah, man, for sure. Do your stuff today and let's jump on a call tomorrow. From there, we set the exact time. He booked the call, and that next day he jumped into the coaching program. And at the time of this last year, there was a $4,000 sale in a matter of a conversation that was 4 messages back and forth. And the cool thing is, with the combination of the touch points that we've had with what we've talked about here today, this is exactly what is possible to the point where he came to me and asked for a call. I didn't even have to ask him for a call itself. I let him know that I related to what he mentioned about the content that he came in off of, and I asked him one question, and he knew right away that he wanted to chat further about next steps. And this is what's possible when genuine trust is built beforehand. This guy already knew that he was very serious about talking to me about working together, and he knew he wanted to get to that point right away. He didn't want to waste time in the conversation, made it shorter for me, and it was a win-win across the board. So conversations don't have to be super, super long. In the beginning stages, they more than likely will be because content isn't dialed in and you're still understanding how to actually move the conversation. But when you have that together and when your content becomes better and better and better, you'll start to notice, like I mentioned, that weight becomes less heavy on the conversation itself and conversations can become shorter like this. Awesome. All right, guys. Well, we will wrap up with that for today. One thing that we're doing going into next week, I was talking with a member on the team this morning, and we are opening up 3 spots next week for one-to-one private audit session, going into conversations, going into content, and going into your current strategy to help you align it and optimize it to improve performance and results. So those that would be interested, maybe you didn't get the chance to hop on the live today, or maybe you didn't want to do it in front of the group here on the live, comment audit below, and we'll reach out to get you set for a private one-to-one audit session with the team. Just comment audit below for that. And those that did hop on the Zoom room today, Anna and Nona, I appreciate you being willing to hop on, sharing your conversations, and being vulnerable here in the group. Hopefully you both got some value on what we went over today as well.
We did. Thank you, Blake.
Yeah, thank you.
Great to hear. All right, guys. Well, we will wrap up with that. I hope everyone has a great weekend, and we will chat soon.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
See you guys.